Connor O'Gara is with us Saturday down south. He'll be shirtless in Tampa. What is up, Connor? How are you?
Look, I don't appreciate the Florida slander for people that don't have to fly everywhere all the time to get to some place in the SEC. When I saw that news come out, and I had heard rumors of potentially Orlando, but there was a lot of some whispers about it just coming to the Sunshine State, and I'm here for it. And I realized Tampa's not SEC. It's not. I don't care. I only have to drive an hour and 15, hour and 20 minutes to be able to get there. I don't have to get on a plane to go somewhere. I'm all for it as somebody that has to fly everywhere to get someplace in the SEC, except for this Saturday when I drive 2 hours to the swamp. Other than that, I have to fly everywhere. So I'm here for it, and I will hear no such slander.
I know why you like it, because you guys love karaoke, and all the cheese dicks in Florida love karaoke too. So this could be perfect for you guys.
I haven't been called that before. I can't say I have. I don't even know how to respond to that, LT.
No, I wasn't talking about you being a cheese dick. I'm talking about the Floridians overall.
These are my people.
Okay,
these are my people.
You're insulting his people.
I stand for them. Yeah.
Connor O'Gara is with us Saturday down south and all the great places he is. What did Vandy do right last year that beat Alabama? I think a lot of Alabama people just sort of take it as self-inflicted Alabama damage. But did Vandy do things right last year that they can replicate this year?
Yeah, I mean, they can. It doesn't mean that they're going to beat Alabama a second year in a row, which, by the way, since 2016, nobody's beaten Alabama in consecutive seasons outside of Michigan, doing that 2023, 2024. This is a very tall task, but it was definitely a lot of self-inflicted wounds for Alabama. It was also some offensive wizardry from Tim Beck. If you go back and watch that game plan and the things that Diego Pavia was doing before he suffered that knee injury against Kentucky when Deion Walker just fell on his leg, Diego Pavia could stretch the field. Junior Searle was making plays. Eli Stowers, who came in to this season as a preseason All-American tight end, like he's the safety valve on third down. Vandy's a better team this year than they were last year. And in a weird way, and Jim, I know we've kind of gone back and forth about this because I'll stand up for Vandy. Vandy's a good football team. It's a good football team. Like, they have improved in the trenches. Clark Lee stepping back into his head coaching role and not being the defensive play caller, passing those duties to Steve Gregory. They are an improved football team that was 8th in the country in percentage of returning production. But replicating what they did last year would need an Alabama team that doesn't know its identity defensively. That was the thing that you could say, even with the way that things played out against Georgia. Alabama really doesn't know who it is defensively yet. I think they have a better idea this year. Getting healthier last week, I think, was really important for Alabama. So, yeah, it's going to be a fascinating matchup. I think it is more beneficial for Kalen DeBoer that he's seeing a Vandy team that's ranked, which, by the way, he's only lost 3 games to ranked opponents, 16-3 against AP Top 25. 4 losses to unranked teams during his time at Alabama. So you do the math on that one.
Best team in Tennessee, Vanderbilt?
Not willing to go there yet, but it's a conversation. It's a conversation. And Tennessee has been, Cole Kublik brought this point up on my show a couple of weeks ago, and I agree with it. The Tennessee offense has been the best surprise in the SEC this year. And I think seeing what they did last week at Mississippi State, a game that they just had to find a way and found a way with defensive touchdowns and whatnot. I would still say that Tennessee has the edge there. I think that last year's result was pretty decisive in Nashville for me to pull back on that, albeit a pretty different Tennessee offense. But it's at least a conversation in ways that I don't think a lot of people were expecting coming into the season.
Connor O'Gara with us at CJ O'Gara is where you find him on social media. He's with Saturday Down South, and he's with us on the Alexander Shinora Trial Attorneys Hotline. So you say you're making that long cross-state trek to Gainesville. Don't have to fly this week. Get to go to Gainesville. Every time, I cannot quit Florida. I can't quit them. I guess I'm just trying to be right because I had them in the college football playoff, and they have been sorely disappointing. Why do I believe it again this week, Connor? Why do I believe it again this week?
I don't know. You tell me.
I don't know. I mean, like Texas has struggled. Florida's got a good defense. It's on the road. I mean, there's a path there.
There's a path. It's a game in the swamp wherein they've at least been a better team under Billy Napier than away from the swamp. That's not really a bold proclamation. The defense is fine.
Yeah.
The defense is good. It's not one of these all-world units, but ask Auburn fans what it's like when you have a good defense and an offense that can't stop turning the football over, or they can't really move the ball downfield the way that you would like them to be able to. And Florida would just like to get to 2024 Auburn levels of offense at this point. I mean, it's a disaster. I've been saying for a while, it's the worst hang in the SEC. That's the Florida offense. But it's not like the Texas offense with Arch Manning has looked the part the first month of the season. Now, Arch has still been able to do things that DJ Lagway cannot, which is stretch the field, get those chunk plays. They're getting healthier in their backfield. Texas is with CJ Baxter, Trey Wisner, those guys expected to come back. Mosley coming back at receiver for them. It's like the Texas offense has more things working in its favor. But the thing that I can't get past, I don't know how Florida's scoring the ball against this Texas defense. First in the country in yards per play allowed. They are stacked. I mean, just absolutely stacked. Florida's going to need a non-offensive touchdown to win this game. That's really the only way that I can sell myself on a Florida victory, because Billy Napier still won't acknowledge that the best player in his offense exists, which is Jaden Baugh. And that's a troubling thing when Billy Napier doubles down on his play calling abilities.
Whose struggles have been, more surprising for you? Arch Manning with Sark or DJ Lagway? I'm just talking about based on expectations.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could point to Lagway's struggles and say, well, we could see this coming a little bit with the injuries that happened in the first part of camp, the lack of rapport that he had with his receivers after not being able to throw in spring ball. So I could justify that a little bit. The things that have held Arch Manning back are more baffling to me. And seeing him struggle with his mechanics so sloppy. I mean, on throws 0 to 9 yards, he's averaging 3.6 yards per attempt. That's where those mechanical issues have really popped up for him. And you see the reaction that he has against Sam Houston State, where he's standing over the defender and talking trash. This is a guy that's going through stuff. I think regardless of how you feel about his first month of football, he's very clearly working through some stuff mentally more than anything else. And this is a guy who was thriving in that area last year, and his mechanics look so much better. And so I think that's the thing for Steve Sarkisian that's been a little bit more tough to stomach, is how do you work through that? What's going to be his get right? They're going to rely more on the quarterback run game in SEC play. I think they were a little bit afraid to do that with the 3 favorable matchups that they had post Ohio State. But yeah, I mean, I think the shortcomings have been more alarming probably with the things that have held him back in the first part of this season.
That was a great opportunity for Connor O'Gara to be a cheese, you know what, there. If you would have said, not Arch, not DJ, I'll take Garrett Nussmeier for $500.
Ugh. Golly, I should have, because I picked LSU to win a national championship, and this was not the version of Garrett Nussmeier I thought we were going to get. I thought there was a good chance this LSU defense would look as good as it has in the first part of the year. It's not a defense that's quite as good as Texas, in my opinion, though. It's not a defense that's going to be like top 2 in the country, and they can just kind of float on by with a top 40 offense. LSU ain't even close to a top 40 offense at this point. Garrett Nussmeier doesn't look right. He doesn't look right. And I was going to give them the benefit of the doubt if they had come into Ole Miss, and even if they had lost in a shootout. Like, this was the one game I had LSU losing coming into this season, wherein I picked them to win a national title. And I thought long-term it was going to be kind of good for their offense to get going. They play in one of these games that's like a 35-28 game that they lose, and they just can't make the plays on the stretch. That's not what this is, though. And you saw when they didn't have Caden Durham out there, they didn't have any running game to even pretend to think about. And I think it's really alarming. You saw Aaron Anderson go down in the first part of that game, and their passing game just had no identity outside of that 15-play, 80-yard drive. They were lost, and this is really, really troubling. I don't necessarily bank on them to figure things out during the bye week.
I know when I asked you this a couple of months ago, you were like, oh, wow, because you're an Indiana guy. Where are you now on my man Fernando Mendoza, number 1 quarterback off the board to the New Orleans Saints, the Cuban Missile, maybe winning a Heisman Trophy this year? I know the numbers weren't great, and there was more out of him running 40 yards for a safety to bust up some numbers in that second half. But I thought overall he played pretty damn well against that Iowa defense in a tough environment.
The number everybody was talking about should have been 7.5.
Right.
Going from 7 to 5, that doesn't do anything. I didn't get that. I didn't really buy that as much.
I think it was a second half total.
Yes, second half total was 5.5, I think.
Okay, gotcha. All right, that makes a little bit more sense to me. No, he's been great. He's been better than advertised, and I thought the Illinois game was going to slow him down. I thought that Illinois defense was going to be able to do some things to give him some problems, and it turns out it was just Iowa a week later. But like that was the first time under Signetti that Indiana has beat a team that I think will go to a bowl game in a true road game. And I think going into Iowa, like I predicted Iowa was gonna upset Indiana. People go into Kinnick and don't come out alive. I mean, that's just the way that it's worked for Iowa, even in their down years. So yeah, I've been unbelievably impressed. Indiana's a playoff team, and going 10-2 is now a real thing that I'm still having to process. If Indiana makes a playoff for the second consecutive year, I think I have to stop saying to people I didn't go to a school that had football.
We were only known for basketball. And my, how that has flipped. It's pretty crazy to see. He is Connor O'Gara at CJ O'Gara on social media. He's about to record a show. You can get all his content there. Follow him on social media and at Saturday Down South. Connor, thank you very much for the time. Always great talking with you.
Gentlemen, appreciate it.
All right, buddy. Take care. Connor with us on the Alexander Shinara Trial Attorneys Hotline.